Okay, third video on Sunday, July 21st, 2024. Bobby Jenkins, Santa Rosa, California. I don't have a primary care doctor who cares about me. She was the one that kept prescribing the hormone. None of the primary care doctors who prescribed the hormone replacement ever said, hey, maybe we should order you a pelvic ultrasound, None of them. And they didn't want to deal with this. Some of them would say outright to me, I'll deal with you if you have a cold or a flu. They were rude people, some of them. And I'm a nice person. I was a school teacher. I mean, I still am. I don't have my credentials are expired, but I was very diplomatic and loved kids. My dad was a doctor. I knew how to be kind to people and talk to doctors, blah, blah, blah. I was a health ed major, community health education, four-year degree, BA degree. And then I got 3 extra teaching credentials. It's all about the money, folks. It's all about the good old boy system, whether it's a woman or a man. It's a good old boy. They support each other. The medical board does not care. So, anyway, nobody checked for cancer cachexia. And they don't check. The standard of care is not including it, and it should be including it. And I think the guidelines say it should. But I had lost 5% of my body weight within those first 6 months of the cancer. But nobody was saying, okay, so you've lost 5% of your body weight. This doesn't look good for cancer cachexia, because that can go on and on and on. Anyway, my tumors, the surgeon, when she looked at down at UCSF, looked at my did a speculum exam, screamed. She didn't have a great bedside manner. She screamed and she jumped back. Her nurse was using the speculum and she peeked in. She said, your cervix is covered. It looks like raw hamburger. And she screamed. It was COVID time with her mask, and jumped back like I was some contagious whatever monster. And apparently the cancer had grown. It was grade 1 according to the Santa Rosa pathologist, but they said there's something there. There's something, other structures there. We can't quite bump it up to grade 2, but they kind of wanted to. I could tell. They sent it down to UCSF, and it wasn't quite bumped up to grade 2, but they did see. I was missing those, whatever are they? Oh God, the one for Lynch syndrome, ML. I can't think of them now. But I was missing those, so they thought for a minute it could be, I could have Lynch heritage. So they did genetic testing stuff. So when you have those missing, what are they called? I'll remember later. MLHP1 or 6. I don't know. I forget what they are. It's a sign that there's heterogeneous cells and that you're going to have a more aggressive cancer. So even though it was grade 1, maybe grade 1.5, maybe it was grade 2. They didn't have enough biopsy material from the biopsy, and I wasn't going to let that guy go in there and take any more out of me, because it was so painful. And now that we knew I had cancer by looking at the cervix, I literally came home, put a speculum in, and asked a good friend, to please take a picture of my cervix. And I have that picture. And the cervix is covered, and it looks like raw hamburger. So I was like she put me at stage 4. She said maybe 3C, because a lymph node was also getting bigger and bigger near my, right next to the cancer. So anyway, she wasn't going to go in. No surgery for you. I don't touch these things that have spread like this. And I had pelvic radiation only, palliative. I thought I was going to die. I'd been suffering for 2 decades. I thought, hell with it. I'll try to shrink it a little with the pelvic radiation. Maybe it'll take the pain away, because it was pushing on my colon and stopping stool. And really, I was on my tippy toes for 5 hours a day, screaming almost. So The pelvic radiation created an incredible reaction. Dermatitis that was so crazy. And I was losing my heel fat pads. I was starting to lose those before the radiation even. Just starting to. Just cracks on them. I didn't know. But a good podiatrist said, you're losing your fat pads on the bottom of your feet and your heels. And sure enough, I couldn't even step on my heels after radiation for months. And the dermatologists were also part of that nefarious group in town. And once they heard that I had an issue with that group, they were not going to see me again either. And thank God that group is closed. But it's a good old boy system, and they can slander you through their own networks. And I got terrible care. I don't know how I've been as strong as I've been, but this cachexia is finally taking me down. It's eating away at me. It's taking me down. My muscles are hanging, atrophied, gone, skin hanging, collagen hanging, fat. So I'm 5 foot tall. I weigh about 113 in the morning. That's decent. I'm eating a low-fat, plant-based diet, but it's getting harder and harder to have bowel movements. Bowel movements take muscle, and if your body is too cachexic, eventually that's going to shut down. So they don't measure markers for that, though. Why aren't they measuring inflammatory markers? So what if my CBC comes out okay? They don't measure it. They need to be measuring the cachexia, because I'm living with still with cancer in my vagina, which I've also looked at with a speculum, and my doctor doesn't even want to acknowledge it. It's like, well, your CA-125 is only 11. Well, the highest it ever got with it, I think, was 16 or 17. I mean, you can't rely on these markers. Those are ovarian markers. Doctors need to listen to their patients. The fatigue, I sleep all the time. I can't get enough sleep. I have sleep obstruction because of the airway, because this is, muscles are dying here, nerve pathways are dying. Doctors, you need to listen to your patients. You need to study nutrition and plant-based in anti-inflammatory eating. The system is this fee-for-service, give a pill for the ill, give chemo for cancer, this profit-making motive. You've got to get out of it. Don't allow it. Stop allowing this. Do something different and help. If you want to help patients, if you want to stay in your careers, do something different. Okay, I'm turning it off. I'm tired.